We're Batman at 89.
Hello, and welcome once again to Bat Minutes 89, the podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and stare straight forward, not answering questions about Tim Burton's 1989 Batman film, 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And I am this other guy who turns up 3 days a week, John Parker.
And this week we are joined by comedian, burlesque performer, and always writer, I've been told to say, Audra Wolfmann.
Hey there. How you doing?
Oh, thank you very much for joining us, Audra. It's an honor to have you here, not in the room, but on the show, you know. So,
Well, as we just discussed, I can't be in the room because you all podcast without pants.
Giving away secrets.
No pants.
first day of podcast school, that's what they tell you. You want to let go, you have to take off the pants. So,
You went to podcast school?
Oh, yeah.
Is that like clown? It's like clown college.
yeah, pretty much. That's what when this podcast starts raking in all the money, we're gonna pay off those degrees. So.
Well, that's actually how we met, isn't it? I mean, I was your professor.
And now you've been sunken so low as to having to co-host this with me.
God damn it. I'm going to claw my way back into the big time.
Okay, Doctor Podcast.
Today we're talking about minute 70 of Tim Burton's Batman. We're getting up there now. Minute 70 begins with Batmobile idling down the road, and it ends 1 minute later with it almost crashing into to Bruce, basically. So,
Yeah, I've got some things to say about that, let me tell you.
but actually, I'll do that again. It doesn't end quite there. It actually ends with the music building. And sort of we're getting to a point of something that feels like something big's about to happen, and then we cut off. So,
Just as it's going to get good. We say that every single episode, don't we? Like, oh, the next one's good, don't worry.
Very suspenseful.
although I will say, in a little side note, a little bit of house cleaning, because I only discovered this in looking through notes coming up for these episodes today. I happened upon this information, where a while back we talked about an interview with Mac McDonald, who played the overweight Joker goon. That's his official name. We're not just judging him here.
Yeah.
In the credits, that's his name.
Then on the Wikipedia, that's what they call him. So he's got his own page, and that's the page. Oh,
Wikipedia.
I'm not sure
of
if a fan-run Wikipedia is, official material or not. I'm not sure we can use that name.
But, we said a while back that in an interview, he stated that, he had an altercation working with Jack Nicholson, and he, wasn't very pleased with the way their relationship went. And he claimed that Jack only worked 11 days on the film, which we thought at the time was like, that's crazy. 11 days? He's in like every other scene. How do they only do 11 days? And it turns out that officially they say that Jack Nicholson was to work 3 weeks on the film, and apparently he ended up working 106 days. So,
Oh my God.
it may in fact have been Mac McDonald was just a bit like, hey, Jack Nicholson, you know what? He wasn't even there. He didn't even play the Joker. That was some other guy you got to do for him.
Well, it was Mac McDonald. He was the stand-in, right? Yeah? No, I'm making that up. That's not true. Please don't quote me on that anymore.
Like in all the shots of overweight Joker, that was Mac McDonald, apparently.
That's certainly a Joker I've never seen, is an overweight Joker. Maybe that's going to be the next evolution of the character.
It's like Jared
It should
Leto
be.
really lets himself go in the next year or so.
Because he's quite a svelte chap, so I don't think that's going to happen.
Might as well get the usual question we throw out a bit earlier. Audra, what's your opinion of Jack Nicholson in terms of attractiveness? Because but I was always under the impression growing up that like Jack Nicholson was considered to be like really sexy, and we've found out since starting this podcast that no, apparently a lot of people do not find him attractive at all. So like, do you want to weigh in, or do you have an opinion, or are you just like, nah, I don't really care?
Oh, I've got an opinion about everything, but I think that like Jack Nicholson of the 60s, or like circa The Trip, was pretty hot in a way. And then later, as he aged, he did have a lot of charisma, you know, and I think that is what's attractive to people. He's not conventionally handsome or anything in his later days.
That seems like a common answer, to be honest. Everyone seems to just
charisma,
really go for the charisma, yeah.
Yeah, and it's especially for people that are attracted to psychopaths. Because he's always Jack Nicholson. You know, he's always that character, and he's always this shifty, kind of nervous, kind of dangerous person, where I think a lot of women and men are going to be attracted to someone who's about to flip out. I'm not sure what that is. It's some kind of like death wish, ultimately, I think. But it happens.
We're all the same in that respect. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, because Jack doesn't feature this week, so it's like, well, you know, I might as well let you talk about him a little bit, because like everyone loves Jack Nicholson in this film, and you didn't get a scene with him, so you know, at least you can get your 2 cents in about that, I guess.
I'm actually, I'm a little relieved that he's not in these scenes, because I'm not sure if I could look that closely at his face over and over again with the prosthetics.
Oh, okay. I thought you just meant like in general. It's like
no, it's the prosthetics.
Oh, right. But anyway, this minute begins. Yeah, we get the Batmobile's leaped into life, and it's making its way towards him through some sort of honing system, I guess. And but the whole thing, maybe it's because like we don't have the music this time, but it seems like this is all very idle. It's kind of like, yeah, Batmobile's coming, and then the police taking after. They're just kind of like, yep, just going to trail along after this thing, and there's no indication that this is like a high speed, you know, high octane chase or anything.
I mean, this is 1989, and Bruce has somehow invented a self-driving car. So I think it's going that slow for safety. There's all these people there, and you know, the cops don't know how to take it out, so they're kind of just following it, aren't they, to see what they can do.
But I mean, presumably, you know, because later on in the minute, he's lost the cops anyway, so there must have been some element of but we'll have to have another high-speed chase now to get away from these cops. But we are not privy to that, unfortunately.
Or it's so stealthy that it just got away so fast they couldn't even follow it. They couldn't even begin to follow it.
It could be the cops.
Because it's going pretty fast later.
Yeah, speeds up a bit, doesn't it?
Oh,
Definitely.
for sure, yeah. It's, you know, it could be the police are just, you know, complete. Well, there's a lot of things in this film that indicate that the police are complete idiots. So it's
true, corrupt, and yeah, totally. And just Gotham is a complete shithole.
Yeah.
You know, so like, why would they have exemplary cops?
But you know, it's maybe they're slightly better than in, you know, Batman Begins, when he just like turns off the lights. And the police lose him somehow. That's properly like,
where'd he go?
Yeah, it's Simpsons level, like, it's a ghost car, you know, that kind of thing. It's like, I remember in the cinema in 2005, and like, he just turned off the lights. How can you not find him?
And it's quite a distinctive looking thing. I mean, even in the dark, I think I would spot this.
But would you know what it was?
Oh, well, I probably wouldn't know what it was, but considering they are deliberately tracking it, I think they would be on the lookout for it. Surely.
We do get one extra, gets his little 15 minutes of man in hat here, gets to do a real astounded, like, Gah! As it's going past him. And you know,
high point of his career.
Oh, for sure. You know, he's dined out in that. Like, every once in a while, I'll be like, hey, so, you know, I bet Batman, the Batmobile's driving through the city. Well, it's not the exciting part, but it's just after the exciting stuff's happened. And there's a guy looking at it.
Totally.
You don't remember that? Well, I'm that guy, though. If you do, if you ever watch it again, I'm that guy, you know?
Yeah, I would base my whole career around that. You know, if I was him, I'd put it on my IMDb, just, you know, star of Batman.
Well, I found like a lot of the extras who didn't do much as well. They will be like, oh, that one reporter next to Knox, I'll look up who he is, and it'll literally be the first thing on his, you know, the top 4 IMDb things he's in. It's like, Batman, reporter. It's like, yeah, I guess, yeah, well, you gotta take what you're given, I guess, really. But
yeah. Well, I did find on eBay one of the extras from earlier on in the film, Bruce Wayne at his party, when he's having that. This extra was a waiter at the party, and he'd signed a picture of the 1 millisecond he was in it, and he was selling it on eBay. And you can barely see him because he's in the background, but Michael Keaton's in the foreground, and he's like, that's me at the back there. Look, you can see my face.
And how much did you buy that for?
We won't discuss that on air. That's far too much money.
The thing, former guest on the show, Gaz Flint, he briefly appears for about that same length of time in the first Captain America movie. So he could be doing that. He could just be like, yeah, blow up a picture of that one little shot you see me in. I could make a fortune going to, Comic-Cons and stuff and be like, I was that guy. I was the ginger guy with briefcase. That's me,
Anyone doing that, I don't blame them at all. I would be doing that. Get the money while you can. Rinse us nerds for all we're worth.
And being an extra is kind of hard work. You sit around a lot. You sit around for like 12 hours to be maybe on camera for a second. I've done a lot of extra work, and it's kind of like going to jury duty. You sit around with a bunch of people you don't know all day, and then maybe you're in one scene where you're like, person in crowd, shocked and amazed, and then they pay you the in the most paltry way possible.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that. Yeah, thank you. No, I can understand that, to be honest, because like when I'm at work and it's like dead, there's nothing happening. At first, it's great. You're like, oh, wonderful, yeah, I can relax. And then after an hour or something, you're just like, no, I'm losing my mind. I need to do something. I can't just sit here any longer. But then it'll flip the other way and it'll be too busy and I'll lose my mind all over again.
Right, you don't want that either.
Exactly, nice happy mediums.
Have you been an extra in anything like noteworthy, Audra? Like, have you been in a Batman film or anything, or is it
I have not been in a Batman film. Sorry, I know. I should just leave now.
Yeah, go.
Bye. It's been great meeting you. No, I live in San Francisco, and they shoot a lot of Discovery Channel shows, and they're kind of like true crime shows. There's a lot of like I almost got away with it type shows. That's an actual title of a show that I've been on.
That's real.
Yeah, that is absolutely real.
It's like the stories of the Scooby-Doo villains afterwards. It's like I almost got away with it if it wasn't for those pesky kids. Yeah. It's sort of like, I was robbing a bank and I thought I had the perfect crime, and of course they don't because they're idiots. So I think that a lot about the show is about how these criminals are idiots. I think people really like to see that.
Yeah. The name's weird though, because it just makes me think, I don't know, like an O.J. Simpson if I did it kind of thing, like his book. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. What possessed him to write that? I guess money.
Well, actually, I've got it because I didn't mind buying it because he is not allowed the profits. I know this is very off topic, but he's not allowed the profits. The family of the victim sued him, and they get the money. So I was like, okay, I don't mind, delving into this, like kind of as a research sort of thing. And the guy who wrote it with him says at the very beginning, like, OJ sold this to me as a confession book. And then when I turned up to work with him, he went, no, it's not. So he's like, well,
it's a hypothetical book.
Yeah, that is weird. No matter what angle you look at it.
Yeah, totally. It's like a whole section, a whole genre, hypothetical.
I just got a picture of like that meme going around of the guy like tapping his head and kind of winking, where he's always like, hey, you can't do this if that kind of thing. But it's like just O.J. Simpson just going like, you can't write a confession book if you don't write it yourself, and just like tapping his head or something.
You have to make one of them.
I do actually really like this idea though of like the I almost got away with it show, but like set in Gotham. Well, that'd be great. Like it'd be a documentary about all these criminals. It's like, oh yeah, I was robbing his bank, and like it was late at night, and we were coming out the back door, and all of a sudden this thing came out at me, and this is them telling their stories. Because you think in Gotham that is the kind of thing that would be happening. The sensationalist news media will be like, we gotta get this.
All the stories, all the stories would be the same. It would be like, I would have gotten away with it, but then Batman showed up. And they go to the next guy. He's like,
that'd be great, though.
Batman showed up.
You could end every single episode just with that line, and then Batman showed up. Go to credits. Boom.
I think people just be really like, just want the gory details, though, of like, oh, you like broke my wrist, or like, oh, you like fractured my freaking pelvis or something. Like, it'd always be like various injuries. I'm like, oh yeah, my whole freaking back of my skull he cracked open. It's like, yeah, he's a monster. It's terrible.
But he didn't kill me. Yeah. He didn't kill me because he's a good guy.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. That's his thing. It's like he'll almost kill you, but not quite.
Just maim you.
That might possibly be worse, almost killing you. Oh, geez. Well, back in the actual minute though, because after we are doing this apparently. After the car ambles off, we then cut to a shot of Vicki climbing down a ladder. They've escaped, but then she turns and is startled by it's Batman. Like, what was she expecting? Why was she like, oh? It's just, I know he came out of nowhere, but
and then Batman showed up. Yeah.
And then Batman showed up.
And he says like the most offensive thing you could ever say to a woman. He mansplains her weight to her. Really terrible.
We were talking about this last week, actually, yeah, because they were in their escape. Of course, he has to calculate how much she weighs, and he hasn't got time, so he has to just ask her like how much. And it turns out, yeah, she's too heavy. It's like you don't, for a start, you don't ask a woman her weight. Obviously, that's not a done thing. And then to criticize her for it, like, well, you lied. You're obviously, I don't know, 110. You're slightly more. Right.
You bitch, you're not 108. You're 110.
That's still
Stop body shaming her.
That's Batman's thing, though. He's just like, he doesn't have time for social mores. He had to grapple. He had to grapple. He had to know the weight. There's no time to be like, oh, well, I hope you don't mind me asking. It's like, he has to get things done. But
I can maybe accept that in this one instance, perhaps. But even so, he could have been nicer to her here, not criticized.
It's kind of it's like the film's running. There's a little bit of a running commentary, a condemnation on perhaps Tim Burton or Sam Hamm, the scriptwriter, on their part of like condemning vanity and whatnot throughout the whole film, because the whole business of like the Joker's poisoned all these cosmetics, so now like it's kind of all the time you can't spend your time preening and getting yourself look beautiful anymore. And then even here it's like her vanity of going like, I think I'm 108. The implication is like she knowingly says lower than she actually is, and then so when he goes like, I think you weigh a little more than 108, and it's just like, oh, vanity again is because it's been condemned in some way. I've been like. It's like it got them into trouble.
That's a very good point.
So unless it was genuine, she's like, I genuinely thought I was 108. What do you want from me?
She's like, I haven't weighed myself in a few years. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what you weigh at any given moment? You can't, unless you're standing on a scale. It's true. And I mean, Kim Basinger is about like 5'7". I think she's tall. So I think she's probably a little more than 108. But I hate to side with Batman.
Controversial. Yep. Although Niall, when
go ahead. No.
This is the only problem with doing this. We always interrupt each other,
because there's so much to say about her weight. I just think it's like super gauche of him to point that out. And you're right, he has no time for being charming. It's not his thing. But yeah, it felt a little body shaming of him to point out that she wasn't 108.
Yeah, I don't think you could put this in a Batman movie now. It would be called out quite quickly, I imagine, on the internet.
Right, just like this. Yeah.
Yeah. And Niall, when you said they were condemning vanity, the first thing that came to my mind was Vanity the singer.
I knew exactly that would come into your head as well. I was like, I better quickly follow this up so he doesn't think I'm talking about Vanity the singer.
Yeah, don't condemn her. She's fabulous.
Hell yes.
Although the thing is, after what Batman does here, I can't. He steps out. He says into his little dictaphone kind of thing he's got. The Batmobile's careering towards him, and he just goes stop, and it literally stops right just as it's coming up to him, and there's no other reason for him to step in front of it and get it to stop exactly there than just being like, hey, look how cool I am. Like, I can do it.
Yeah.
He could have stayed where he was and would have stopped there anyway. It's like, what was the... Unless it's honing in exactly to his suit. And he needed to kind of get clear of her, maybe? So, like, in case he ran her over by accident, but...
No, he's just being cocky and stupid because he thinks it looks badass, basically. Yeah. But at the same time, that makes me love this shot. And also, he's really committing to this Bat brand. He's gone all the way. The wheels of the Batmobile in the center have got the Batman logo. Look. That is dedication. He's had someone create that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's the equivalent of having like vanity plates.
Yes.
Right? Like he wants everyone to know that that's his fucking sweet ride right there.
So I think we would have known it was his sweet ride without those tiny little bits on the wheels. But, you know, he's going all the way.
Well, I don't know. The Joker might be like, oh, that's my car. Hey, ladies, that's my voice-activated car.
I mean,
now I want to see the Joker steal it and paint it in Joker colors.
He would screw it up.
and like Arkham Knight, there's a bit where they Jokerify the Batmobile. It's pretty cool looking. I'll give you that. The Bat Brandon even goes into that bit in Batman Returns when he's got the little CD waka waka thing, like during the Penguin's press conference when he's playing all the quotes back through the speakers at him. And he's got a little bat symbol on a CD player. That's like, people, that's in the Batcave. No one else can see that. Like, why are you putting it on your CD player?
Yeah. No need at all.
This is like,
talk about vanity.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe vanity's bad unless you're Batman. And then it's cool. So.
Well, now in the minute, we cut again. And we see the most gothic and Tim Burton thing for quite a while here.
Hell yeah.
It looks amazing. And
it does.
yeah, because we see the car driving through a kind of autumnal forest. And it's got a kind of Nightmare Before Christmassy vibe going on, I think, you know, with the wonderful Elfman music coming in as well.
This is the beginning of the track, Descent into Mystery, I believe it's called. It's one of my favorite pieces of music throughout the whole film. But I've got a whole thing for next minute about that. So, because that's when it really kicks in then. But yeah, I suppose though, like because you know a lot of this is just the rest of the minute is just Batman driving, and it's we get a couple of more glory shots of the Batmobile, really. And it seems as if he's taking the whole Vicki didn't tell him the right weight thing really thick, and he's having a huff. Because you won't speak to her in the car. It's like, obviously, I know that's not what's happening, but like I like the joke that it is.
Yeah, because I think he legitimately, though, to be serious and boring, I think he doesn't want to reveal who he is, does he?
Yeah.
Like, if he speaks too much, she's going to sort of start figuring it out. And she does, kind of. She starts looking at him.
That's the next minute, though, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one, she does one little look out the side of her eye, like,
There's some chin recognition.
Yeah, well, the chin and those lips, because he's really pouting away. He's the pout king.
It's true. If you can't recognize him from, with or without sort of like covered up from the nose up, there's definitely some problems with your, with making connections. But that's just like the convention of all these superhero movies, right? Or even like with the Wonder Woman TV show. I was just watching an episode of the old Wonder Woman where, like these aliens come and they figure it out. They have like a picture of Diana and they have a picture of Wonder Woman and they like superimpose it on top of each other. They're like, that is the same Earth Woman. And it's like, well, how come no humans around her can do that?
Take like 5 seconds.
Yeah. Everyone's got facial blindness.
Yeah, maybe in the 1970s they didn't have that level of technology to superimpose a picture over another one. So they're like, no, we'll never know.
You had to be an alien to do it.
Clearly. I mean, there's obviously the ultimate one being Superman, because I've never understood how no one knows it's him. Having said that, I wear glasses, and when I take them off, I mean, I'm blind at the best of times, but if I remove them, instantly people go, oh, you look different. So maybe he's onto something there, People, oh, I didn't recognize you.
Could be a thing, like, one thing that they never bring up in any Superman media is like, I know as a glasses wearer, when you're wearing them all day, you take them off. There's little indents on your nose. It's a whole plot point in 12 Angry Men. It's like, that's how they knew about the glasses and stuff like that. Because no one ever been like, that Superman's got little indentations on his face if he's wearing glasses. I wonder, if you put glasses on all these people, who would he look like? They're literally going through all of Metropolis. So it's just like, once they get to the K's, it's all over, man. So.
He's like, no, man, those are just my sunglasses. I left my Ray-Bans in the car.
Yeah, but that's it. That is his cover. It's like, yeah, I need the sun. I'm Superman. That's where I get my power. So I had a little quick charge before I came, So.
I like in this scene as well, just seeing the Batmobile in a different environment.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to seeing it kind of in the city, going around the Gotham streets. So I love seeing it in the woods.
Yeah.
That's a bit different.
And these woods in particular, it's sort of like it's in its natural habitat right now. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like it's more at home here in these spooky ass woods than driving around in the city with people all over the place.
Oh yeah, it's a very Tim Burton looking car, isn't it? So it fits right in here, and in a way, it kind of makes it even more bat-like.
Yeah.
Obviously, being in the trees.
Yeah.
I thought it had a very almost like a kind of fairy tale kind of vibe of this down into the woods and all this sort of going to mysterious places and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah. Oh well, you say that, but Vicki asks, "Where are we going?" And Batsy doesn't answer. He just keeps driving and pouting.
Which is horrifying. Horrifying. Just put yourself in Vicki Vale's shoes. A man questions your weight and then makes you get in his car and then drives you through some like spooky ass woods in the dark and won't tell you where he's taking you.
That is scary.
Yeah, particularly as you know, like this is a guy who I'm investigating. He could be like, "I'm taking care of you. I'm getting you out of the way," is what I'm doing. It's like no one ever looks out in these old woods. I can tell you that.
Yeah, no one will hear your screams.
Oh, because the implication in the movie as well is that people seem to think Batman is a killer, and he goes after these criminals and he kills them. He drains their blood. Was the story earlier on? So yeah, she must be thinking like, "Oh my God, he's onto me. Like he's getting me out of the picture once and for all now."
Right.
But she took those photos, obviously.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Oh, yeah. As we find out later in the film, that actually is part of his whole MO here, basically. So
that was a little teaser for you, everyone.
Yeah, at that point though, not only does he just continue like staring ahead, it's like he actually starts like increasing the engine. Like he's like, "Oh, well, wherever we're going there faster now. I can tell you that." So.
He's kind of a creep.
Creepy Batman.
Yeah, I mean, sure, he wants to be, scary, but I don't want to be creepy though. I want to not in that way. I want to be creepy, like striking fear in the hearts of criminals. Not like, "Oh, that Batman. I wouldn't leave my daughter alone with him if I were you." Kind of creepy, It's like,
well, you shouldn't, because he'll just kidnap her and take her into the woods and be mysterious and.
But I thought because the rest of this minute is just like, shots of the Batmobile. We have to spread out the Batmobile information, and across little, I'm sure we'll probably have some in the next minute as well. But I thought because I remember the last time we talked about the Batmobile, John, you brought up it had a cameo in the Dean Cain Superman show, like this particular iteration of it, and also has several other cameos throughout its illustrious career.
Ooh.
It appears in 3 times. It appeared in Animaniacs, different old setups. Appeared once in Tiny Toon Adventures.
Okay.
All, of course, WB properties. But then also appeared in the animated film version of The Dark Knight Returns, where it was the one where Peter Weller played Batman, which was really distracting because there's RoboCop's voice coming out of Batman. It's like, this is weird.
Yeah, not right.
Yeah.
No, that get rid of that.
It's not even trying, because he is just like, "Hello, I'm Batman." It's like, not even to gruff up the voice or anything, dude. Come on.
They should have given the role to Paul Weller.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
He is convincingly, seemingly angry all the time. Like Paul Weller, I'd never want to meet him because he looks a bit terrifying. Like he always seems like he's about to the way he's hammering those guitars. It's like, oh, that man has got rage, and he's not getting it out through his art, apparently. If this is some kind of art therapy doing the music, it is not working for him because he is terrifying. So
because he is Batman.
Oh, maybe. The thing I always remember about Paul Weller is I remember about 10 years back, he was a talking head in some kind of random music documentary. And he showed up and he had the scowling Paul Weller face. But at this point, I think he was trying to cling on to the last bit of his youth. So he had a really trendy young haircut. And he was wearing this like a hot pink jumper with all these squiggles over it. But he was sitting with the arms folded, looking really angry. And this kind of bleach blonde haircut that was about 20 years too young for him. It's a bit this is... Paul, you're not rocking this look, man. I'm not, and the image has stayed with me since. But
stayed with you? Is it haunting your nightmares? Your dreams are filled with it.
It's like every time I see,
I can see why.
It's like every time I see him, I'm just like, hey, let me tell you about this pink jumper I saw Paul Weller wearing one time. And I'm not even talking normal pink, like hot pink. Like it was you can spot this thing a mile away. But
if you're gonna go for pink, you got to go all the way. You know, you've got to commit to the pink.
It's true. You can't sort of do pink if you're a man. Just sort of do pink. You got to commit to
Exactly. And then no one will question it then, because you'll have the confidence. If you look confident in it, people will be like, he's a cool guy. I like that.
One final cameo appearance was that the Batmobile also appears in Looney Tunes Back in Action, which was the film, the kind of Space Jam follow-up that happened like 10 years after that. But apparently it crashes into a water tower, and then that water tower nearly crushes Jenna Elfman from Dharma and Greg.
Oh.
No relation to Danny Elfman, I've discovered.
I was literally about to ask you. That was my next question.
Of course, though, Looney Tunes Back in Action was directed by Joe Dante, who was in talks to direct this film at one point. There you go. And he also directed Gremlins, which is
absolutely
it was a podcast that Audra here also guested on, the Mogwai Minutes. So I can recommend that week of episodes and that whole podcast, because we had Neil Brown on 2 weeks back, and those guys are great. So
yeah, they are. They are.
Yes, and we very well may have George coming up soon. Teaser.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Maybe. We'll never tell.
You'll have to just keep listening.
You'll tell eventually.
Unfortunately, we will.
Yeah, the entire week he's there, though, we'll just be like, we're not even introducing him. People are going to be like, who is this guy? And we're like, oh, it's our little secret.
The smooth-talking mystery man. But you got some good research there now, because all of my Batmobile stuff is very dull. Like, I found out what fuel it has, which is, nobody cares. Nobody cares. I mean,
what fuel?
Yeah. Which
is it like a Mr. Fusion situation, or what's the deal?
No, it's a high octane 97% special, which is gasoline paraffin mixture.
Oh,
wow, that was good, wasn't it?
Is that in?
I was just saying he should go electric.
Oh, a new Batmobile should be. That'd be a great little modern thing to bring in. Yeah,
or at least hybrid. Jeez,
is that talking about like the car in fiction, or is that this particular car here that they had to be?
No, it's supposed to be fictional. I don't think you can. Can you put that in a car? That sounds like a jet engine thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but people listen will be like, "Who the f- is this idiot?" Of course, you can't put that in a real car. I thought I'd just check. All right. But in terms of notes for this minute, I think I'm out. You guys, unless you've got anything else yourselves.
No, I don't have any more comments about kidnapping a woman and bringing her into the dark woods. For this minute, anyway.
Yeah, we can get into it on the next minute, definitely.
That's right. You bet.
So before we do go off into the dark night, Audra, where can our good listeners find you on the internet?
If you would care to wander into my website, it's audrawolfmann.net. Wolfman has 2 N's. It's German for Wolfman. You can also find me on the Facebook, also Audra Wolfmann. My burlesque persona is called Odessa Lil. And I do a lot of burlesque, in particular with my Weird Al burlesque troupe that I travel around with. The world's first and only. Yeah. It's kind of. I don't want to do any other kind of burlesque now. That's where all my attention goes now.
That seems like something that Weird Al himself would be like really into. Like, does he know that this exists? Yeah. Or
yeah, he's been super cool about it.
Hey.
Yeah. And actually, I've met him once, and I said, "Hey, man, I'm in your burlesque troupe," and I expected him to be like, "What?" But he knew all about it.
Hey.
And since then, has said a few things on Twitter and interviews and things. So we're cool. We're cool with it. No cease and desist from the King of Parody.
Well, make sure to check that out online and check out Weird Al. Of course, you all know Weird Al, but any excuse to promote him too. And
Absolutely.
you can also, yeah, hell yeah. And if you want to chat to us, you can find us on Facebook at the Batminute 89 Listeners Society, and also on Twitter at Batminute89. Make sure to review us on iTunes as well, because we love it when you do that. Oh, warm, cuddly feelings. And make sure to join us again, because we will be back on Wednesday, where we will have minute 71 of Batman. See you then.
Next time, Elfman triumphant. As the Bat puts the pedal to the metal, we get some major orchestral maneuvers in the dark. But as Vicki spies a sudden stony surface, will her fright at the sight be proven right? Find out Wednesday, same Bat Pod.
Different Bat Minute.